Hi all, after the quite a challenging conference we have, I've decided to do a full video of answering Ruby's recipes and report that for you so that regardless of the fact that our conference got broken up, you'd still be able to go through that and follow along. So as I've said to you several times, when we're answering these questions, the first thing you do is you look at the last question in your task. So, and these are really cool. They're in bullet points. So here's our question. It says, set up a system of equations to find out how many batches of each dish she can make with her current ingredients. In other words, we're looking for batches of each dish. So X is the number of batches of, and then we find our dishes. So we're looking at chili, curry, and bolognese. So chili, Y is the number of batches of curry, and Z is the number of batches of bolognese. Okay, so at this stage, remember that gives me my first part I've achieved. I've said what my X, Y, and Z is, and the key thing is I've got something that suggests an amount or a number. Okay, so we're in a good stage for going for our achieve. Next thing, I need to form my equations, and we're going to do that with a table method. Remember, we write down what the things our X, Y, and Z stand for at the top. And remember, they always give us a total. And we have 1, 2, 3 items that are going to make up the rest of my table. So then I look back at my internal and I look for what those 3 things are. So we say 3 recipes uses the same base ingredients, and there's my 3 items: tomatoes, stock, and meat. So I'm going to put my 3 items: tomatoes, stock, and meat. Okay, so now I have to be really careful filling it in. I've got my table and I'm going to read. Notice that the first line all talks about chili. So for my first line, I'm going to have to bring it in here. Okay, so let's fill that in. We need 20 kgs of tomatoes, 15 litres of stock, and 25 kgs of meat. Then my next line all deals with chili. So they are all going to go in my next column, okay, because all of that is chili. So, I get a pen, 17 kgs of tomatoes, 24 litres of stock, and 35 kgs of meat. And my final line, let's see if I can find another colour, let's go green, is the bolognese. So they're going to go into this column here. So I've got 18 kgs of tomatoes, 9 litres of stock, and 56 kgs of meat. Okay, sorry, my dog's got the sneezes. So from there, I need to look for my totals, and here's my totals. 440 for my tomatoes, 310 for my stock, and 870 for my meat. So we'll just add those in there. 440, 310, and 870. So writing in all my X's for my chilies, all my Y's for the amount of my curries, and Z's for all my amount of bolognese. Add my symbols that I need to make them equations. And at that stage, I have completed the next part required for achieve, having formulated our equations. Then we go into our calculator In our calculator, remember, we want to go into the equation setting. So I'm just waiting for my calculator to come back up. Here we go. And I'm going to be in the equation setting. I'm doing simultaneous equations. And I have 3 unknowns. I'm just going to delete what is there. So 3 unknowns, and I'm going to put them in. So it was 20. 17, 18, 440, come on, 15, 24, 9, come on, let me do this, I'm just going to hide this screen thing, 310, and my last line, 25, 35, come on, type, 56, and 870. I want that to solve, so I execute, and I'm just going to take a snippet of that screen so that I can continue with our class notes and copy it in from there. So let's drop my calculator in and paste. Let's paste. There we go. Oh, that did a stupid place to paste it. Sorry, girls, just give me a second. There we go. Paste it so that I can hopefully move this around. There we go. And so I write out what my X, Y, and Z is. X is 12.559. Y equals 1.7549. And Z equaling 8.8319. So I haven't quite got achieve yet because we're talking about actual things that you can batches of things, and people don't want to pay for parts. So I'm going to truncate. Truncate means chop off all the decimals. So rupee, can make 12 batches of chili, 1 batch of curry, and 8 batches of bolognese. So at that stage, I have achieved. I've formed, said what my X, Y, Z is. I've formed my equations, got my solutions in context. So I now have achieved, as long as all my solution is correct. So let's look at the second task here. We did the first task, and now we're going to do the second task. It says, find her best solution. So now I've got to deal with those decimals, and this is what I was trying to show you all. We were having big trouble with our internet. So I'm going to look at all the different combinations where I can do these numbers here, where we've got our results here. So I'm just going to take my lovely little paste and I'm going to stick it over here so that it's easier for me to see when I'm moving up my screen. So I'm going to use different combinations of rounding as my headings for another massive table. Okay, so obviously I can round everything down. I can round up only one at a time. So I'm going to round up the biggest one, just the next biggest one, the next one. So I'm going to round up both my two small ones, and so forth. And obviously I can round them all up. Okay. Now I need to check which they're the best for, and it's in a table where I have a given amount of ingredients, where I have a given amount of tomatoes, I have a given amount of stock, and I have a given amount of meat. I know that I have only, 440 is my limit for the tomatoes, 310 is my limit for stock, and 870 is my limit for meat. And this again is where my calculator is going to make my life easy. So we're going to go to menu, we're going to exit back to our equations. If I'm not sure, I can go equations, enter into equations, and I want the solver. So we're going to F3. Now I'm going to delete what's here, and we're going to work with our equations. So I'll drop this down, and I'm going to show you the equations that we're going to use. These are our equations that we've formed up here. These ones here. We're going to use those. So let's go. Oops, I want it to copy it. Copy. Now let's see if it did copy. Paste. So these are the equations that I want to work with, and I'm going to put these into my calculator. So let's just bring up my calculator. And the first one I had was working out for tomatoes. So I'm going to put alpha T for tomatoes, and I want that to equal, so shift decimal, and then it was 20 and then X, and I use this button for X. I use the X letter T just under the alpha, and then plus 17, so 17 Y, so alpha, find your Y button. Oops, didn't get it for some reason. So alpha Y plus and 18 Z, so alpha 0. Got the equation, so it looks exactly like it did over here. See, it looks the same way as this one here, our first one here, and that was for our tomatoes. And I'm going to enter in, these numbers here to start. So I'm going to enter them into my calculator. So in my calculator, my X was 12, my Y was 1, and my Z was 8. I arrow up to T and I push enter. I get the answer 401. Which I shouldn't really do that in red, should I? Let's do that in black. 401. And I check, yep, that's okay with my 440. I don't want any numbers bigger than that. So I continue doing that again. I'm going to do it one more time on the calculator, and then I'm just going to copy in the numbers that I've already done. So my second one had X is 12, Y is 1, and Z is 9. So I change to 9, and I go enter, arrow back up to T, enter it in, and it says 419. So I got 419. Now you continue that all the way along. So I got 419, 418, 436, 421, 438, 439, we're getting closer, and 456. 456 is too large, so I'm no longer interested in that combination because already it's asking for more tomatoes than I have. So now I need to get to my next equation, which is for stock. So in my calculator, I exit, I go up to my equation, I delete it, and I put in what I'm looking for. So alpha S, shift decimal for my equals, and then I enter in my equation. 15x, here's my x, come on, plus 24, come on, alpha y, plus, come on, 9 alpha z. Now we go through exactly the same process as we did before. So we want 12, 1, 8, arrowing up to my s, entering, and we get 276. So I'm just going to write in all the answers that I've already done and worked out. So 276, 285, 300, 309. I'm just moving my mouse away. 291, 315, and which is too high. Oh dear, I can't use 315. So I'm no longer interested in that column. And my last one was 300. Okay, and as you can see, as we do this, we're slowly eliminating things that can't be. So rather than putting in my next equation to the calculator, I'm going to assume that you can do that now. So I'm going to enter in my next numbers. So 786, 83, sorry, 839, 818, 874. Oops, too high. So that one can't be. 808. Oops, that was a funny looking 8. 8 and 864. So I've now put in all of those things that we had, and now I've got to say which one is the best solution. The best solution uses the most stuff without going too high. So let's have a look. Well, that's pretty low, that's pretty low, that's pretty low, that's pretty low. Well, that's close, and that's close. So on the top line, we're looking at 2 of them. We want a combination where we can try and get all 3. Low, low, getting close, sort of. Yeah, no, that's really good. Okay, so we're close there. So we're looking, no, yeah, maybe. No, too low, close. Can you see the only combination where I've got them all close is this one here. So that looks to be like my best combination. Now I want to know how much this is different. Well, this is a difference of 1 because 39 plus 1 is 40. This is a difference of 10. This one has a difference of 6. So now I can write out my answer, okay? So I'm just going to rub out this so that I have my space for my answer. Okay, and I can write therefore, whoops, I missed the rest of therefore. Therefore, the best solution with the least wastage or the least leftover food, least left over, well, they were called ingredients, weren't they? Ingredients is 13, this is my 13 batches of chili, 1 batch of curry, and 9 batches of bolognese. So at that stage, assuming that I haven't accidentally put in the wrong thing into my calculator, I've got a very secure, strong merit. But, and this is a big but, they're kind of a bit tricky and gnarly on this. So while I've done the merit work, they don't accept it as a merit. Not fair. So how do we go to do the final step of the merit? Well, let's have a look, because in the NZQA, they say for us to be able to get a grade, you have to have done all tasks. So to get a merit in excellence, you have to have at least started this in order to get your merit. It's not that you haven't done the work. My gosh, have we done the work? It's just a little unfair. It's just one of those things. So we see what it says. Ruby's got complaints of the lack of meat, so she's going to need to make a change in the chili. And some of the meat's gone off. Yuck. So what does she do to change? Let's look at her changes. She throws away, removes 170 kgs of meat. And now she's changing the chili, the curry, and the bolognese to do with the meat. That means of this particular thing here, we've got our table. So let's copy that. We're going to have changes in our meat. So we're going to have changes in our meat. We've got to take off 170 off 870, so that is 700. And the meat content is changed in this equation. So let's have a look. Chili 30, curry 3, bolognese 36. Okay. Chili 30, curry 3, and bolognese 36. So we've got new equations. We stick those new equations into our calculator. Menu, equation, we're already in it, so we exit back to our main menu of it. We want simultaneous and 3 unknowns. And only thing we got to change is that last row. So we're changing that last row, and we're going to make it 30, 3. Gee, we lost the meat in our curry, and 36. And our total is now 700. So we go to solve it, and it says maths error, which is what we'd expect from an excellence. So calculator gives maths error. You just state calculator gives maths error, so it is either multiple solutions or no possible solutions. And that, this bit here, having done that last little bit, gives the merit. Stink, I know that you've got to go that far for the merit because you've already done the work, but the requirement of the NZQA is that you try all tasks to get merit and above. Okay. For those of you who are going for the excellence, remember this is a stage we look and we prove it with the algebra. So we've got 20x plus 17y plus 18z equals 440. Got 15x plus 24y plus 9z equals 310. And we've got 30x plus 3y plus 36z equals 700. At this stage, remember, we're going to name our equations, and we're going to decide whether it's easier to get rid of the x's, the y's, or the z's. Now, in this particular one, there are two that are just as easy as each other. either the x's or the z's. Now I've chosen to do the z's. You can choose the x's as long as you're going through, but I'm going to do the z's with you. Okay, so I'm looking at my z's and I can see that they're all multiples of 9. So if I take equation 2 and I multiply it by 2, it's going to be 18. So 15 times 2 is 30, 24 times 2 is 48, 9 times 2 is 18, and 310 times 2 is 620. I want to work that with equation number 1. Now, both my equations here, the 18z is positive, so to get rid of a positive, I'm going to subtract. 30x take away 20x is 10x. 48 take away 17 is 31, leaving me no z here. Subtracting here gives me 180. Tidy that up, I get 10x plus 31y equals 180, and nothing goes into all of that, so that's my simplest form of that particular equation. Now I'm going to have a look, and I can see that if I multiply equation 2 by 4, I'm going to get 36. So we're going to do that. Let me tidy up. There we go. So I go 2 times 4 gives me 60x plus 96y plus 36z equals 1240. Equation number 3 was 30x plus 3y plus 36z equals 700. Equation 2 minus equation 3 gives me 30x plus 97y plus 0z equals 540. Every single one of these let's just tidy it up, sorry. 30 plus 93 equals 540. Each one of these numbers here is a multiple of 3. So I'm going to divide them all by 3. So I go divide by 3, so my marker knows what I've done, giving me 10x plus 31y equals 180. And that's the same equation we found above here. So far, we know that we have one line of intersection between two of the planes. Looking at my last one, I now have to look at equations 3 and equations 1. Can you see that if I go 18 times 2, it's going to give me 36. So equation 1 times 2 gives me, sorry, didn't put a minus sign there, 40x plus 34y plus 36z equals 840. Equation number 3, 30x plus 3y plus 36z equals 700. They're both the same, so I'm going to subtract, giving me 10x plus 31y plus 0z equals 180. Tidying that up gives me 10x plus 31y is 180. And hopefully you can see now we've got 3 lines the same. They all intersect on the same equation. This means that I'm sitting at the scenario where I have my first plane that intersects with my second plane, which intersects with my third plane. This one's harder to draw all the time. Every time I go to draw it, I'm really, really bad at it. Sorry, girls. Let's do it out here. And can you see that all three of those planes intersect along one line? So we have to describe that and tell our marker what we found. So we say, therefore, this is three intersecting planes along one line. 10x plus 31y equals 180. Therefore, there are multiple solutions dependent on 10x plus 31y equals 180. Now I have to give you a bit of a heads up now. This particular combination, this particular internal has a bit of a yuck in the excellence, not the algebra, because obviously if you're going for the excellence you've already been practicing the algebra, but this trial and error stage that we did for the merit here, let's take away my sad face, we're going to have to do a little bit of that with the excellence. Stink, I know. Okay, so first, as we did before, we have to rearrange. So any other time that we've done this, we've rearranged. So we've got 10x plus 31y equals 180. We want to make that equal to y, so we subtract 10x from both sides, giving me 31y equals 180 minus 10x. Divide both sides by 31. Remember, we can do that for all of it. Giving me y is 180 divided by 31 minus 10 over 31x. Now, we're going to put that into our calculator to do the hard slog for us, and normally that's going to do the big part of the work that we need to do. Unfortunately, in this case, this particular question is yucky. Okay, so we're going to exit back to our equations, and we're going to exit right out to menu, and we want to go to table. In our table menu, I'm going to delete what's there, and we're going to set in our new equation. So y equals 180 fraction button over 31. Oops, where's my 31 minus 10 over 31x. We execute that. We check our settings are going from 1 to 200 in steps of ones, and we table our results. It's thinking about it. That's what that means. Now look, we got decimals. In fact, we stay in decimals, which stinks. Okay. Let me just check if that's the same answers I got in my other calculator. Just wait a second. Yep, it is. So here's our problem. We get down to 18 and it's 0. We've got after 0 comes negative, so we can't use any of the negatives. So we're going to have to look at the numbers between 15 down to 18 or similar combinations. Or we can look at higher, but this is where it stinks. So the closest we get, I'm just going to close that little snippet down. Give me my computer back, please. Sorry, the internet's decided to play its little grumpies as it did this morning. So if I have a look, I want to go the closest I've got to whole numbers. So can you see here, I've got one combination when I'm looking at it that goes 12 and 1.9, so possibly 2. Yeah. Go back down. Here's another one that's close. I've got 15 and 0.96, so that's a possible 1. Stink, huh? And obviously, I've got my 18 and 0. So I'm just going to put them into our table. So we've got our X and our Y. So I had 12 and 2. I've got 15 and 1. And I've got 18 and 0. I need to find out what my Z would be for each of those. So we're going to substitute into one of my Z formulas. So we look at my original formulas. Here they go. None of them's particularly easy. This one's got the lowest that we need to work on. So we're going to work with equation 2 into 2. And my equation 2 was 15x plus 24y plus 9z equals 310. So rearrange it, gives me, 310 minus 15x minus 24y equals my 9z. Divide everything by 9. Gives me z equals 310 over 9 minus 15 over 9x minus 24 over 9y. And we're going to go through and check our answers for that. Just give me a second. I'm going to do it on my other calculator so I can get that done faster for you because my internet's playing its little tricks. Okay, I'm going to do it in my solver, creating a formula like we did before. So I'm going to go alpha z equals 310 over 9 minus, excuse me, 15 over 9x minus 24 over 9 alpha y enters. I'm going to enter in my x as 12, my y as 2, go up and see what it gives us a z. We've got 9.111 as my z. Remember, I'm going to have to go back and check this combination to see if it works. This is why this is a stink. Excellent. But let's do that again. Okay, let's check this for 15. 1. And find out what our Z is. It's giving us 6.777. Now, I suggested that's probably actually going to be a good combination, but we'll come back to that. Exit. And we've got my last one, which was 18, 0, And we make my solution, we get 4.4444. And because this is a pain in the keister, I've actually got to go and check which is the best one. I'm thinking because we've got a nice high number, let's check, because originally I had different dishes and I like the idea of having a 1 there. So let's have a look. We're going to check out the combinations of 15, 1 and 6, and 15, 1 and 7. We could do the same for the others. 12, 2 and 9, and 18, 0 and 4. We're going to check this like we did with the last table, where we've got the tomatoes, the stock, and the meat, and we have to put it in the formulas. Oops, what happened there? Sorry, my computer is really throwing a tantrum right now. We got to put it back into these formulas that we were working with back here. Where is our formulas? Here we go. So let's take a copy of these. Copy. Paste, and I'm going to put those into my calculator, remembering that these are my limits. So my limit here is 440, 310, 700, and this was in here. I got to do T, S, and M. So let's delete my formula. Alpha T equals 20x plus 17 alpha y plus 18 alpha z, checking in my x of 15, y of 1, z of 6. Check what I get as my answer for tomatoes, 425. Change it again for my next one, which was 15, 1 and 7. Check how many tomatoes, 443, so that's not allowed. Exit, check it with a 12, 2, 9. Go back up, how many tomatoes, 436. Maybe I guessed wrong. Exit, check it with the 18, 0, 4, 432. Change our equation to alpha S, was my S, S equals 15x plus 24y plus 9z equals, and recheck them again. 15, 1, 6, going back up, equaling 303. That's okay. Going back, 12, 2, 9, going up and checking, 309, that's fine. Exit, checking for 18, 0, 4, gives me 306. So each of those are all fine. Now must be the telling one for our meat, so I delete my equation, go alpha M, shift equals 30 x plus 3 y plus 36 z. Okay, entering in my 15, 1 and 6, going up, checking how many meat, 669, that's fine. my 12, 2, and 9 going up and checking. 690. Exit and checking 18, 0, and 4. And we get 684. So let's see which is our best. It's quite a long way off. This is closer. This is still close. That's quite a long way off. This is definitely closer. That's all right. That's way a long way off. That's definitely closer. That's all right. Here is our best solution. They won't normally make you go to this extent. This is stupid, but I'm not allowed to say that. But I still think so. You get the idea. They won't make you do this. But here we go. So, therefore, she now makes 12 batches of chili, 2 batches of curry, and 9 batches of bolognese. And there, believe it or not, we finally get our excellence. That is an extraordinary amount of work for an excellence. Usually, you're going to find your 2 solutions at this stage with 2 whole numbers answered in context. They have made it very convoluted to get an excellence on this. But thank you for sticking with me, girls. Come on, stop recording.